welcome to a Homespun house. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join me. I'm very happy to have you here, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you to the newer people who are watching, and thank you to the people who have been watching for a while and keeping our Ravelry groups going, because it's just so wonderful how much participation a lot of you have done, and how much so many of you have been involved. So I wanted to start off by talking about something that I've actually already talked about. It's something for those of you who have been with me from the beginning that's so awesome, and I'm sorry that I'm kind of telling this story a little bit again, but I think it's something that a lot of people maybe will be interested in, and I'm curious to hear your stories of this as well. So this is kind of how I first started knitting, how I first fell in love with knitting, the story of my knitting journey in a way. My grandma is a big knitter, and she's been knitting all my life. Every time I've seen her, every time I visited her, she's always knitting. She's always knitting, reading, or writing letters. Those are the two things that she does all the time. Those are probably her two favorite things to do. So naturally, it was something that I was very curious and interested in. And I'm not sure whether I asked her or whether she asked me if I wanted to start knitting. But it happened somehow, and I cannot remember what my first project was. There are two projects that come to mind that I very much so remember as my first project. There was a pair, it was Christmas time. I think I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, and my sister, who is 2 years older than I am, really wanted a pair of leg warmers, and so I thought it would be perfect to knit her a pair of leg warmers. And so my grandma said, you can pick any yarn you want from my stash, which was basically a yarn shop, because her stash is just never ending. I feel like when you walk around any room in her house, there's yarn. When you open any drawer, there's yarn, which is really neat. So yeah, I chose some yarn. I don't remember at all what it was. I know that it was 100% natural wool, maybe lamb's pride. I kind of remember it being lamb's pride. And I picked a kind of like a mousse chocolate brown and a salmon kind of coral pink. And I really wanted to stripe these leg warmers. And my grandma said, that's a little bit difficult for your first project, but she's kind of one who doesn't really believe in doing something very simple for a first project, which is my same outlook on knitting. I would never have someone start with a scarf or even a square, or she kind of wanted me to dive right in and do something where I learn a couple of different techniques at one time. So with these leg warmers, I did rip, and then I did stockinette down the leg, and I think every 4 rows or something I changed the color. And I remember there was a lot of this brown, and there was a ball, maybe half of a skein or something, of the salmon color. And my grandma thought that it would probably be enough, but it wasn't. And it was a colorway that no longer existed. My grandma had no more of this yarn. She didn't have any yarn that was even a similar color to this, and I was so heartbroken. I wanted so bad to knit these leg warmers for my sister. I had already finished one, and I was almost finished with the second one. And so then my mom was being nice, and she called into a couple yarn shops and checked to see if they had this yarn, this colorway, and I think she maybe called 2 yarn shops or so, and they said no. It doesn't exist anymore. It's not a colorway that's even being made anymore. So one of them said, why don't you come in and bring your yarn, bring your project, and we can look around at what we have and see if maybe we find something that matched. And so I took my leg warmer in, so proud. I was so proud of this. I felt like this was a knitting masterpiece, and I remember I just walked around the store with it in my hand, kind of peeking over my shoulder, wanting wanting people to see my amazing project that I had knit. And yeah, I just felt really special about it. And we found a yarn that was perfect for it. And I finished the leg warmers. And I remember for Christmas, we always have Christmas morning, well, when I was little, at my parents' house. And then in the afternoon, we would go to my grandma Sue's house. So I waited for Amy, my sister, to open these leg warmers until we were at my grandma Sue's house, because my grandma wanted to see her reaction too, because my grandma was part of this whole journey. She helped me knit them. And my grandma was such a wonderful helper. In the episode where you saw, she said that she just kind of learned on her own. You know, her mom said, that's how I learned, so that's kind of how you can learn too. Maybe that's the best way to learn. Sure, I can peek over your shoulder, and if you have a big problem, I will be so happy to help you. But you try, and I'm going to push you to do it by yourself. So this is the same kind of outlook that my grandma had with me, and she did help me, definitely. I think she was a lot more sensitive about it than maybe her mom was, because I can remember, and now I think it's really sweet when I think back on it, when I would make a mistake or maybe drop a stitch or something like this, my grandma would rip it back, because I would be afraid to rip it back. You know, it was a time when I was just beginning to knit, and maybe 1, 2, or 3 rows took an hour. An hour. It took forever because I was so concentrated, and I'm quite a perfectionist when it comes to any sort of crafting. So, and I always have been. So I never wanted that extra stitch there to be there, or maybe to sew a drop stitch in so that it looked fine. I always wanted those stitches to be just so. And so my grandma would rip it back for me and then knit those 3 rows back to where I was, so that my time was saved and I didn't feel brokenhearted over it. And I think that's sweet. I can remember sitting on her sofa and watching her in her chair ripping back and knitting those stitches. I can picture this perfect. Or even just sitting and knitting with her. I crazy wish that I could do that right now. It would be so amazing. And the second memory that I have isn't as long and as vivid of a memory. I can remember that my grandma wanted me to knit a pair of socks. She thought that this was maybe a good first project, a good second project. I have the feeling that it was after my leg warmers, because in reality I had kind of knit a cuff of a sock, when you think of a very long and oversized cuff. So she must have thought that this would be a good second project. So we went to Wisconsin Craft Market. That's where I'm from, Wisconsin. And we picked out some yarn. I got to pick out some yarn. I picked out some Regia. It was a sparkly yarn. And it was not very pretty. It was actually very ugly. It was quite camouflaged. It was brown, it was green, it was dark green. It wasn't pretty at all. It was not pretty at all. And I don't even know if I found it pretty at the time, or if I just chose it because maybe my grandma found it pretty. Because my grandma really loves green, and I have no idea. I just have this memory of this very, very, very horrendous looking yarn. So my grandma and I looked around a little bit more. She probably got some things, and we went to her house, and then she gave me a pattern, and then we hung out a little bit. We spent some time together, and then she dropped me off at home. And so again, she left me to try and figure out the sock kind of by myself. And then I cast it on. I did the ribbing. My grandma does most of her socks where the entire cuff is ribbed. Not like I do them now. This is a new thing for me, where I just rib the top and then I do stockinette for the entire leg. So maybe only up until 2 years ago I did my whole leg completely ribbed. I've always, until just shortly, done it that way. So I did the whole cuff, and then I started the heel. So I knit the heel flap, And oh my God, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I really, really, really could not wrap my head around this. And I remember being very irritated with myself that I couldn't figure it out. And I set it down for quite a while, and I don't think I ever finished it. I couldn't figure it out. But I do remember actually the first time that I ever knit a pair of socks. This was also, my grandma and this was also an experience with my grandma. We stopped at some yarn store. I picked up again some Regia sparkly yarn. This was much more beautiful. It was green, turquoise, white, those sort of colorway. It was kind of like a self pattern one where it looks like there's stripes and then some Fair Isle, that sort of classic kind of Regia sock yarn that they have. And the same thing happened. I got all the way down to the heel and I could not at all wrap my head around knitting socks. So then we went one weekend to my Aunt Becky's house actually, and she had a totally different sock pattern, Nancy Bush's sock pattern. And it made a little bit more sense, and I tried and tried and tried. I sat in the bedroom for hours trying to knit this freaking sock. And finally, all by myself, I figured it out. Oh my God. I don't even remember the epiphany that I had or anything. I don't remember. I just remember I finished the socks and I gave them to my best friend, who is still my best friend. Katie is her name. And she still has them. I think she just sent me a picture of her wearing them a month or so ago. But yeah, I would love to hear more of your stories of how you first started knitting or how you learned to knit. I know there are already some stories being shared, but these stories are so important to me, and I think to the world of knitting. It's how this craft started, how this craft began, how it's growing, and how people are sharing it, and how people are falling in love with it. So there's a thread in a Homespun House Ravelry forum called The Story of How You Fell in Love with Knitting. You can also share how you started to knit in there as well, but the stories are so wonderful and very fun to read. And so that's kind of my story of how I fell in love and started knitting. It's always been a journey, and every day I'm falling more and more in love and just really soaking knitting in, and something I think about a lot. It's something that's in my everyday life and something that I'm very, very, very passionate about. So that kind of takes us to what's on my needles. And because I'm so passionate about knitting, I have made up my mind. I've been thinking about this for quite a while, and I have some very, very exciting news. Something that I'm so excited about I could scream. But I will not do that because some of you maybe have headphones on and I will kill your ears. So the first thing that I am working on is something very exciting. It's out of the Cyborgs Craft Room yarn, which is a new to me yarn, one that I've never used before, and I'm using the Space Oddity colorway. So it's a light fingering weight, and I have 490 yards of it. And this is the cake. Let me show you. So here it is. It's a little bit cupcaked, I guess you could say, because the top is pointed. So this is how it looks. It's amazing. It's so lovely looking. I really adore it. Okay, so I've decided that I am going to write a book full of knitting patterns and little stories, and I want to have it for sale as an ebook. And so I can't show you exactly what I'm knitting because I kind of want them all to be surprises, but I don't care about if I can show you the yarn or kind of a glimpse. So right now I'm knitting a shawl out of this yarn. And this is, I've gotten a lot done, so I can just show you a little bit of it. Right now I'm just knitting the body, and this is completely something that I'm designing. So there's a lot of work done on it. And so here it is. I kind of will show you the yarn because I don't want you to see the exact pattern that I'm doing. So this is the yarn. It's knitting up so wonderfully. It's turning out so luscious, and it's so soft and so squishy. And as I'm knitting with it, I'm very intrigued by how she dyes her yarn, because it's unlike anything that I've ever seen before. And I'm very, very, very impressed. You all know that Linné yarn is my all-time favorite, but after knitting with this yarn, this is a very, very close, this is my second. I could say that this is probably my second favorite yarn to date now. And it's something that I would really like to knit with more. I adore this yarn. It's so lovely. It's so squishy. The colors are very vibrant, and it has like a shine to it. You would almost think that maybe there's a little bit of silk or something inside. But I'm really enjoying knitting with this yarn and seeing the color changes, and I love it. So I don't know if you've ever knit with Cyborg Craft Room, but you won't be sorry if you choose to go and have a look at her website, which you should, because she has so many cool colors and the names are all really cool. So if you like themed yarn and things like that, you'll like a lot of the names of her songs. She's really into music and things, so a lot of things are named after different music things and different song titles. So you can just go and take a look at it, because she has such neat yarn, and the yardage is amazing. Like I said, this is 490 yards. This shawl that I'm knitting and designing, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to make it two-toned. I think about adding gray to this, a very pretty gray, also from the Cyborg Craft Room. And we'll see. I'm kind of letting it marinate a little bit, and I have a lot of ideas for things that I want to be in the book. And if you're a yarn company and you would like your fiber to be used in any of my self-designed patterns and to be promoted in the book, I would love it. I would love if you could email me, maybe get in touch, and you can help me with some yarn support towards designing my patterns. That would be so wonderful. So this is the shawl that I'm working on and enjoying and having so much fun. It's really exciting knitting and casting on something. This is the first time that I've designed something before, but with the thought of an ebook in mind is so exciting. I would like to have about 8 to 10 patterns in there. And I think that it's something that I will probably have finished around Christmas time. So that's really cool. The next thing that I've been working on is these mini bunny loves by Susan B. Anderson. And you saw the one that I was knitting on before. That's all. I thought that I would have it finished, but this is all that I have done on it. I think I'm going to rip this out because I'm not enjoying knitting with this yarn at all. I have no idea what I will even do with this yarn. Maybe I'll use it for wrapping some packages, because it's kind of neat, but nothing more than that. I don't even remember why I had it. I think my grandma maybe had an extra ball of it and she gave it to me or something. So I cast on another one here. I don't want to show you too much of it because I'm kind of worried about giving away patterns, I guess, but I don't think showing you the design is going to give away the pattern. And I have the half of the body knit. And I love this. I love these stitch markers that you can just take off, but this one's really fun with the beads. It makes something about stitch markers and removable stitch markers when they're pretty. It makes knitting extra fun. Why? I don't know. It just does. I love when I take this out and look at it. Don't ask me. So this one I actually am having fun knitting. I noticed that on the pattern picture, Susan has, she has two of the bunnies that are just plain. I think she has a dark gray and then a light gray, and then she has a rainbow one. And yeah, here they are. So I kind of really like the way the plain ones look. And I still want to have two of these finished for Elodie for Easter. And Susan B. Anderson also has a free pattern of a, oh God, I think a bunny with a chicken inside or something, or it's a chicken and an egg. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I think about knitting that as well because it's really fun. And I initially wanted to knit her that for Easter, but then Melissa of Single Handed Knits sent me this pattern and I fell in love with it as well. And I think Elodie will have a lot of fun with those. So those will go inside of her Easter basket. I also picked up, unrelated to knitting, two fun puzzles that I will put in her Easter basket. So I'm slowly kind of gathering fun little things for Easter for her. So the third thing that I'm knitting is my socks. And I feel so terrible for this because I know that I would have had these finished. Okay, so I have the first one done down to the heel, same as last time. And then I have the second one done, exactly the same, down to the heel. And this Fish Lips Kiss Heel, it's a new technique. So obviously it's something that I'm unfamiliar with and something that I really have to read the directions on. Oh, this is out of the Patons Croy. What yarn is this? It's Patons Croy, the Rag Shades, sorry. And I just haven't had time, really. All of these things have been quite easy. Obviously the shawl I'm designing, so I don't need a pattern. And this, for the cuff, I didn't need a pattern. But I haven't had time to really sit down and look at a pattern and knit. The bunny as well. I kind of read through what I needed to do at first and then haven't really looked at the pattern since. So I've had a lot of time. Okay, so the Fish Lips Kiss Heel has kind of stumped me with the sock knitting because, and I know that I have to just get over it and knit the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, and then I'm at the foot and then I kind of have a better idea for it. I can see if I like it, if I want to use it in my next and upcoming socks, or if I just want to go back to my flap heel or try another heel, who knows. So yeah, those are the three projects that I have going on for our Fingering Weight February knit along, which I noticed in the thread that some of you are a little bit confused. Or it's not Fingering Weight February, sorry. That's maybe why you're confused. It's just Fingering Weight knit along. And it is going on until March 15th. So it doesn't end on the 28th. That's not when it ends. It's ending on March 15th. So you have plenty of time to get more projects in. I mean, you have half of a month. So the prizes for those are Spin Monkeys, fiber, and you still have, I think it's 2 days to get these in, to use the coupon code. It's Homespun on the Spin Monkeys webpage. So this is the Violet Beauregard colorway in her sock yarn. It's 400 yards. And then this is the other prize. It's from Decadently Divine Yarns, whoops, in the Bouncy Sock base. And this is 400 yards as well. But you owe it to yourself to go and look at her webpage. Her prices are phenomenal if you live in America. And her yarn is so beautiful. She sent me 2 skeins as well. She sent me this one, this purple one. And a lot of the skeins in her shop are this. They have this sort of, they're dyed in this extremely unique way. These are my favorite kind of skeins that she has in her shop. And she has loads of them. She has magenta, she has pink, she has blue, she has turquoise. Ones with these little flecks all over. And I personally think they're very gorgeous. I love the way that they feel. I love the way that it's dyed. I think that you can't go wrong with this sock yarn. I'm definitely a big fan of it. And this one's neat because it's called Twilight. There's purples and plums, but then there are just these little teeny dots of blue. And she has a coupon code as well, Homespun, in her store. And you get 20% off, but that's only until the 28th of February. So if you want to have a look at this yarn, any yarn in her shop with this flecked, or even a plain yarn like this yellowish mustard color, go check it out. It's such an amazing deal. 20% off is quite a lot, I feel like, for a yarn shop to offer. Look at how beautiful those flecks are. I'm just in awe of, I'm very into this speckled, freckled, splotched yarn. It's kind of like tweed, but without the tweed, if you know if that makes any sense. So that's Decadently Divine. And I know that on Ravelry, if you're searching on Ravelry, it's always at the bottom. It's always like one of the advertisements that's popping up. So the giveaway, though, is of the coral and of the purple from Spin Monkeys. While we're talking about giveaways, I guess, we can just go ahead and announce the winner of the Cascadia ebook. So the winner is E-Hope, and that's Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, you will be getting a copy of Cascadia, the entire ebook, and I'm very excited to see what you decide to knit out of there. Yeah, that would be cool. I have actually started using my wheel again, and why I stopped, do not ask me, because I have been having so much fun with it. I haven't drop spindled really. I've maybe spent 15 minutes drop spindling on the raspberry merino, which I've showed a couple of times, and I'm just kind of enjoying spinning that slowly. I'm spinning it at a very fine lace weight, so that's just kind of something that when I'm in the bedroom I just pick up when I feel like it. So I've been spinning on my wheel, and before I show you what I've been spinning on my wheel, my Nicole C. Mendez Rolex arrived, and I was very excited when they arrived. So can you remember last episode when I talked about these cotton candy Rolex? Well, this is what I was trying to describe. So I only have 2 of them left. They're quite big. This one I stretched a little bit, but it was about this big. And I have 2 left, so here they are. Let's bring them, I guess, a little bit closer so you can see them. And they are 100% merino. And I know that everybody says that merino is very soft, but I've spun with merino that isn't that soft. And this is soft, that's not what I'm saying. This is very, very nice and soft and light. And I like spinning with this a lot. And I love that there's these bright pops of blue. There's these bright pops of blue, and then this kind of, my favorite pieces when I'm spinning is when I get to the blue. And then there is this hot pink right here. Don't know how well you can see that. And then there is this. It's kind of shadowed by the lighter pink and the white fiber in the Rolag, but under here is a really pretty kind of orangish red. It's really neat. they're colors that I wouldn't have, this color I would have never thought to have put it with, but I love it with. So I have 2 of those left, and I think, how many came? It's 4 ounces. 4, 6, 8. So I think it's 8 altogether. And this is how it looks. And this is actually not really how it looks, because there are so many different colors, and the last rolag that I spun had a lot of really pastel colors in it. And I really liked more the brighter ones. Like, for example, this on top, you can see is very bright. And I love how neon almost it is. And then underneath here, you can see that it's way more pastel toned. So there is that. And I got a lot done. I'm almost finished. And I'm going to ply this with itself. So I'm going to 2-ply it. I'm not going to add a different fiber. And I left this open because I'm going to add the other Rolex to it. And I'm spinning it about, I think in the end it will end up being about a DK weight fiber or yarn. And I'm enjoying it. I think I'll have it finished tonight. I'll sit and spin for a little bit because Robert will be gone and Elodie will be asleep, and I can just sit and relax with the hum of my wheel. That's something that's really nice about wheel spinning, because my wheel, because it was handmade and wasn't perfectly made, makes a little bit of a hum when I spin with it. And it's nice because I can actually just sit and it's not an irritating noise. It's really nice. It's kind of like my wheel is singing to me. So when I'm spinning with my wheel, I just sit and listen to the wheel. I definitely cannot watch anything, listen to anything, because the wheel is actually that loud. But it's not. It's really not loud. I just don't want to have the hum of the wheel with something over it. So yeah. And we've been spending a lot of time without any sort of distractions, like TV. We haven't been watching any TV, period, none. We've actually been thinking about giving our TV away and not keeping one in the house at all, because it's really, for us, it's kind of silly, because we don't have a lot of family time together now with me working, and obviously Robert is gone quite a lot and Elodie's in school. So we really want to focus on us. And Elodie has been listening to audiobooks rather than watching any TV. She hasn't watched TV in a long time, which is wonderful. It feels really wonderful for me to have her wake up or do anything and say, oh, I want to listen to Der Fuchs. I want to listen to Herr Fuchs or Frau Elster or whoever. These are German audiobooks that she's listening to and really enjoying. And she wants to listen to them every day. She never asks to watch TV anymore. She wants to listen to these, and she plays. And yeah, I kind of got off subject, but that's really nice. So this is the fiber that I'm spinning. And I decided on this, I'm going to do this immediately after we talk, that I'm going to hank this up. I'm not going to add any... This is my 50-50 merino silk. Sorry, I forgot to say that. But I've decided that I am not going to ply it. But as I say that, I kind of like wrestle with the idea, because I'm afraid of it being too weak. I mean, that's the worst thing, is if it were to be too weak. It's definitely a lace weight. But I would love to design one of my designs with this, because it's stunning. I'm curious what the yardage is, but I think I will hank it up and I can decide later if I want to apply it. I can get my bobbin free, because these bobbins as well are handcrafted, and sure, I could pay 30-40 euro to have a new one made, but at the moment it's not necessary. I'd like to free my bobbin, and I think single ply will be nice for this. So the other Nicole C. Mendes The Rolex that I got are these beautiful minty ones. And these are 95 grams, so almost 100, almost 4 ounces, just short. And these are superwash merino. Both of them are actually superwash merino. And that must be why they have the shine to them. And I'm curious to see what colors are hidden in here, because I've just noticed for the first time that there's a little bit of blue, mint blue in here. So Nicole C. Mendes has an Etsy shop, and her prices are unbelievable. She has yarn and fiber ridiculously affordable prices. I purchased each one of these for, I think they were 14 euro a piece. And the shipping, if you live in Germany, for those of you who live in Germany, 100%, I'm telling you, you must go and check out Nicole C. Mendes. So this is her name. And because her prices are so affordable, in my opinion. Shipping is completely free. And her product, I've only purchased the Rolex, but her product is brilliant. It is very, very beautiful. I'm extremely happy with the Rolex that I've already spun up, and I'm excited to spin these next. She has yarn in her shop. She has, I think she just has sock yarn. She maybe has lace weight yarn as well. And some of it is self-striping, which is really cool. I've never purchased her yarn, and I probably will in the future. Right now I'm quite interested in her fiber. She told me that her next order, hopefully, she'll get a silk blend, and I will definitely hop on that wagon, because after spinning this, the 50/50 merino silk, that was the nicest blend I've ever spun. So I would love if she got a silk blend, and I told her I will be the first person to purchase that from her. So there are those Rolex. What else? Yeah, so I wanted to talk about in March. We will be still working on our fingering weight knit along. And I'm kind of already thinking about a knit along for April. And I would really, really like to do a Cascadia knit along. I would love to have April be a month where you can knit any pattern you want from Cascadia. And just have fun with it. Any yarn, any pattern. That obviously means you have to purchase the ebook, but it's so worth it. We had so many entries for this giveaway for the ebook, that clearly a lot of you are very interested in the patterns. And I think it would be brilliant to do a knit along with this. I know I said that I really love the Raven's Nest shawl, and that's what I'm going to knit. I'm going to use a German company, their yarn. It's called Nature's Luxury is the company, and I'm going to use the inky colorway, and it is a beautiful, beautiful color. It's like a jeans, like a denim colorway, and it's so gorgeous. I'm very excited to use this yarn, and there's cashmere inside of it, and it's just so luscious and luxurious. And Danitza of Nature's Luxury is going to be giving away some yarn to one of you who would like to be in the knit along and obviously knit the Raven's Nest shawl. So it's enough of the Raven's Nest shawl, and all that you have to do is you have to go over to Nature's Luxury. If you guys, any of these groups that I'm talking about, like for example the Hungriest Knitter, a lot of people were confused about this. So if you just go to my profile on Ravelry and you see the groups that I'm in, you'll see Hungriest Knitter in there. as my group. So if you're searching for where she is or where her group is, it's in my group. So her name is The Hungriest Knitter and her name is Rachel. That was a side note. So Nature's Luxury, you just need to join her group, and then she'll have a thread in there for the giveaway for this amazing yarn. So join the group, go over there, tell her what yarn you would like, and one of you will win. So that's very exciting. And it has to be for the Raven's Nest Trawl. So please do not enter it if you're not planning on doing the knit along and going to use the yarn for this, because it's kind of tied together. And yeah, so that's so exciting. I mean, who in the world is lucky enough to get this amazing cashmere yarn? Like, it's wonderful. So while we're kind of talking, I guess, about gifts and things like that, my amazing friend and viewer, one of you guys are lovely. One of you guys sent me a gift. And she said it was something little, which is funny because I imagined something little. A box of chocolates, a skein of yarn, something like this. I had no idea, Helga. You are something else. So she sent me this teacup and saucer. You guys, you know that I love teacups and saucers, and I love stories with them. And this obviously has a story. I am very curious, Helga, the story behind this. Where you purchased it, what made you decide to give it to me. So this is the teacup, and her taste is brilliant because of all of the teacups that I have, I know that this will be one that I use much more than almost all of my other ones. I have another teacup and saucer that is very similar to this, and here's the saucer. It's a little bit dirty because I've been drinking coffee on it in the morning. So it's so gorgeous. I love it so much, and I'm so touched that you thought to send me a teacup and saucer. But you know what? There's more. So she didn't just send me that. She sent me, first of all, one of the most important things of a package, which is this letter. And the best thing is this is the letter. So it's not just like one line, she wrote a lot, and what she wrote was so sweet, so lovely, and I was very touched by the nice things that you wrote, Helga. So that was the letter. And then inside of the letter, she sent me some Vesper sock yarn in the color Domino. So this is it. I've shown my husband this. I showed it to Robert, and he's claimed it. He wants it. He thinks it's very neat. And he thinks it would be perfect for a pair of socks for him. And I could not agree more. So a cool skein of sock yarn. And then this is really neat because I know she's purchased a couple of my project bags. Helga, I think you're like a little bit project bag crazy because you've purchased quite a bit of mine. And I know that she's from Petaluma, I think is how you say it, California. So this is really neat because it's something that kind of ties us together. She sent me this project drawstring bag, or whatever I want to use it for. I think that's very sweet. Isn't that nice? And then she sent me loads of tea. So I haven't drank any of these because I wanted to wait and show you. She sent me some Tazo tea, which I'm extremely excited about. And they sound amazing. They're ones I've never even heard of before. She sent me organic vanilla rooibos, cocoa mint mate. I think that one sounds delicious because I love peppermint teas. And then she sent me some peach tea and then some vanilla chai black tea. So she sent me 2 of each. So 8 bags of tea. And I'm going to drink one of these tonight. I think I will have the cocoa mint tomorrow morning because mint is so nice and refreshing for the morning. And, ooh, apple, cinnamon, and Tahitian vanilla is the rooibos parfait. I will have that one after this. So that sounds delicious. Other crafty projects that I'm working on, something really fun. So, Elodie and I like to do a bit of crafts together. Especially since I've been working in the Kita, my mind has been like overflowing with neat ideas because I always want the children at my school to be involved in doing a lot of crafts. So we had a project where we were learning a lot about animals and things like that. This was last week, and I thought it would be fun to make sheep. So I cut out some black sheep with construction paper, and then I drew faces and feet and things like that. And then I brought in some natural wool that I have, and I had them glue it to the sheep however they wanted, some hair maybe. And I made one for Elodie, and I cut out a sheep for her, and obviously she used my wool and glue, and she had loads of fun with this. And it was fun to get her involved in something like that. And I thought I would share it because it's a sheep and it's wool, and I don't know if any of you have little children, but she had a lot of fun with it. She had a lot of fun with the glue. She had a lot of fun of pulling the wool apart and grabbing little pieces and sticking it on, and so that was fun. I'm trying to do fun stuff like that with her every day because I want her crafting imagination to be moving all the time. So something else that I've been working on a little bit is the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Stitch Along. Oh my goodness, you guys. I'm so far behind on this. I am still on January. I have done almost nothing. I've just started Snow White. I've changed her outfit so that she's wearing kind of the classic Snow White costume. And I think that this is a project that I have to take to work with me. Because during work and this is really nice, there's about a 45-minute time period where the children are sleeping. And I can just sit and knit. And that's kind of when I've been working on my shawl, is when they've been sleeping. So I think that maybe I should take my cross stitch with me, because then it's the only thing that I have. It's the only thing that I can work on, and it makes me work on it, I guess. I tried to work on that one night, and that's as far as I got. I don't know, it's so weird because I used to be so into cross stitching, and lately my cross stitching mojo has kind of gone down. I hope it comes back. I really want to cross stitch this, and I'm going to do it a little bit different. Some people are doing January, February, March for the whole sampler like the pattern is. But I want to do it where it says the names of the stories. So Snow White. The next one is the Frog Prince. So yeah, I think I'll just do the names rather than the months, like a calendar. And the final thing, my shop is still empty, but that is because I have been waiting on my fabric. As you know, mail between America and Germany is just ridiculous. So my fabric just arrived today. I don't even know how long it's been. 2 months. And so it's arrived, but it is a lot of fabric. I ordered a lot of fabric. And it's beautiful. I'm extremely excited about it. So this is one that I've ordered for the shop. You guys, hold on to your horses because there is a little bit, quite a bit. Here is the second. So here is the second one. They're all very different. This one is very funny. It's like wiener dogs wearing hand knit sweaters. This one is one of my favorites. I don't know why. I really love this one. think it's really neat. It's kind of like kawaii, Japanese inspired. This one's really cool. This is a really popular one here in Berlin. I noticed all the fabric stores have it, and they're always, the one near me anyway, she always has to purchase new rolls of it. Because people are using it for a lot of things. And this one, oh my goodness. I got so many neat fabrics this time, really, honestly. This one's really nice. And I got quite a bit of this one, so I think that I can make 10 bags with this. Or more. It's really neat with the sewing machine, the knitting. It's completely crafty related, cross-stitching, embroidery, journaling, patterns, sewing, hand sewing. It's brilliant. And then this is another homemade one with a different sort of style. Also neat. With a cute little sheep down there. A different sort of tea one. So for those of you who weren't so much into the shabby chic tea styled one, I picked up this one, which is a little bit more modern. And I got a lot of this one. I think I can make 10, 12 bags with this. Some foxes. This one's cute. With the princesses. kind of like my old Once Upon a Time, but with a little bit of a larger print. And I think much more fairy tale, little girl-esque, whimsical. The rest of these are quite whimsical, I feel like. This one's really sweet. With the bear and the little girl kind of playing games, having tea. Jump rope. I have a lot of other ideas for the shop. I don't just want to have project bags. I think about putting some mug rugs in there. This one's catching fireflies. I don't know how vibrant these are showing up, but the vibrancy of a lot of these is really beautiful. And this one is so pretty. This is also, it's kind of like whimsical and being outdoors, and they're also catching fireflies, and she's caught some, and yeah, those are really pretty. And then this is kind of like vintage looking to me. It reminds me of some pillowcases I would have had when I was little, or with the flowers on it. But it's really pretty with this girl and her horse, and I don't know. I feel like if you have this bag, it kind of takes you back to those times when you were really young and you were in love with horses, because I feel like a lot of little girls were really in love with horses and wanted a horse and kind of dreamed about and played with horses. And then I have a couple of bags that are sewn and just waiting to be finished and with labels on. Sewed up, that's it. And then here's another one with this really cool kawaii Japanese print. And these ones are one of a kind. I have no more fabric like this. Here's another kawaii Japanese print. So these ones will be listed in the shop immediately when I get my name tags. The shabby chic kind of vintage looking teacups, porcelain. And then I have just some plain without a contrasting fabric. The dinosaurs, I have 2 of those that will be listed in the shop. Another one of these. Then I have some bees gathering honey. Summertime leaves. A day at the pond. I love this print. It's so cool. And then I have Lucky Feather. So that's it. It's a lot, I know. I'm very excited about the new fabric. I'm so excited to get my labels. I cannot wait to be able to update the shop. I'm sorry for those of you who have been waiting, who have been wondering why it's empty, but it will be soon. As soon as I get my labels, I will be sewing those on. So I've had a wonderful knitting week. I've had a wonderful spinning week. I've had such an amazing week at work. I'm so happy where I'm working. I feel like life is just really good right now. I love my colleagues. I love my family. I love my friends. It's pretty great right now, and that's a good way to feel and a good way to be. And I have so many fun projects and things working on. Some that I can't talk about because they're kind of top secret and knitting related, which is really cool. And the book that's going on, I have my shop going on, and I just feel like I'm having a lot of use with my creativity, and I'm finding some new really good friends here in Berlin, and it feels really good. It's really wonderful. So I hope that all of your weeks have been as good as mine has, if not better. I hope that you are able to be productive. I know a lot of you who work, you have a hard time when you come home to sit and knit, and you wonder, how in the world can I find time to do this? But you can. You really can. I know sometimes it's hard, sometimes things are difficult, but really try and take those minutes to spin or to knit or to cross stitch or to weave or to do whatever you really enjoy, because it's so worth it, and it's so relaxing, and it's so it gives you so much. It makes you feel like you're doing something, and it's just an amazing thing. Every time when I think about any sort of craft that you really do with your hands, I'm kind of in awe of it. It's so amazing how much handwork can do for you and give you and others. So just take the time to relax and appreciate what your hands are doing, because it's really important, and it's something amazing. So I hope that you enjoyed your time with me today. I certainly enjoyed it as well. I wish that you were here so that we could converse maybe a little bit back and forth rather than having me talk to you, and maybe you, as Helga told me in her letter, that she actually talks back at me on the screen, which is really sweet. So I hope that you have a very nice week ahead, and happy knitting!